Hello, thanks for coming back to hear the update. As you know, I have my sister's wedding on Saturday, and I'm pleased to report that it was a truly beautiful, gorgeous day with a lovely bride and lots of happy times and good food. And that's the bit that I need to talk to you about. My plan of attack seemed to go really well when the food was being walked around. I was committed to eating only foods that were 10 out of 10. Hello, thanks for coming back to hear the update. As you know, on Saturday I had my sister's wedding, and I'm pleased to report that it was beautiful. She was beautiful, the day was beautiful, there was no hiccups or upsets, the food was beautiful, and that's probably what I need to talk to you about today. As most of you know, I had a plan of attack, and that seemed to go really well when the food was being walked around and like big dishes of things were being put under my nose. When I realised that most of the food coming out was measuring up to be a 10 out of 10 on my taste scale, I decided that it was time to put a new plan of action in place. So I remembered that I would eat until all the food that I was eating became liquid. I thought that would be my saving grace, but it wasn't, because I was the one doing most of the talking, and you can't eat and talk at the same time. That would be very impolite. So as long as you're listening, that plan works. If you're a talker, then it doesn't. So what I ended up doing, I got the caterers to put aside a bit of food that I really, really enjoyed. Like there was a mini fish and chip basket and some beef curry and some lamb and rosemary pies. They were little ones too. That way I felt like I was eating and I had something to go to, but it was in a controlled amount. So I felt really good about that decision. I was really happy just to pick my way through it over time, and it actually lasted a couple of hours. So I even told a few family members and the caterers what I was doing as a way to set up a little bit of accountability for myself. And they were, of course, very encouraging and stopped offering food my way, which I was appreciative of. I did, however, fall off the wagon a little bit, and I'm embarrassed, but I do feel obligated to let you know that I did come unstuck. Towards the end, after most people had left and the caterers were all shutting down, all of the leftover food was laid upon a big, big table out the back. And that was just my total undoing. I couldn't ignore it. I felt like it was calling my name. In the back of my mind, I guess I didn't want to think about trying to do the right thing. I just wanted to eat it. And needless to say, I did. It was like everything that I had ever learnt to date had just flown out the window. And I reverted back to my old ways. I couldn't even tell you exactly what I had. Well, I do have fond memories of the wedding cake because I had about 5 slices of that. So this whole process lasted about an hour or so. Then just as fast as it came on, I decided to stop. I realised that I was undoing all the good work that I had done just hours earlier. I realised that most of the food except the cake that I was eating was not a 10 out of 10. I also realised that it was either me or the food that had to leave the table. And once I actually looked around and realised that I was the only one eating out of control, nobody else was even picking at it, I thought, okay, well, I'll pack up the food and just get it out of my sight. And I even put it into containers and put it in the freezer and not the fridge, and that way I wouldn't pick at it a little bit later. So the new me really did take over, and I even took the kids trick-or-treating and resisted the temptation to eat lollies when they were kindly sharing theirs with me. But in the back of my mind, I was very upset with myself for binging when I was so committed earlier on in the day. So in an effort to compensate, the thought crossed my mind for a nanosecond that I should only drink water the following day, and then things would balance out. But punishment isn't the answer, and that plan was destined to fail before it started. Instead, I really focused on trying to forget the upset of the day before and just eat sensibly. We went out for dinner and I only ate half. I really tried to savour the flavour of every bite. I took my time so that I'd feel a sense of fullness and satisfaction. And then my daughter and husband went out for ice cream after dinner, and I opted to stay behind and talk to Giselle because as strong as I was feeling, I didn't want to risk putting myself in a tempting situation and making things worse. So I did have a mocha instead, and that worked. And I also tried to burn off some of the calories I'd gobbled up the day before. But I didn't have the time or inclination to go for a walk, so I went down to Mum's and helped her clean up. I was literally running, like making the beds, hanging out the washing, sweeping the floor, doing the vacuuming, making several dashes up and down the stairs, thinking just every calorie counts right now. So I was hitting it hard. So a post-mortem would reveal a definite downfall on Saturday. And I'm really trying to look at how far I have come with certain habits, not how far I still have to go. I really still feel like I've had an 80% success rate on Saturday as far as what I set out to do and what I had achieved, and I was really proud of myself for instilling extra measures when I needed to. This event has really opened my mind to the fact that I have an addiction to food, and it's really going to take a lot more time and effort to have it work for me and not against me. But I'm getting there. It's definitely a lifestyle change, and it's very easy to slip back into your old habits when your environment does not support the new you. Giselle reminded me again today that your chain is only as strong as your weakest link. My weakest link was obviously temptation. Reality is temptation will happen again at the next big event. So after some contemplation, I reevaluated my game plan for events like this. And this is the new structure that we're going to play by. Before I leave for an event, I'll have a big salad and a skim mocha. That way I can be more objective in deciding what's a 10 out of 10. The two rules that we spoke about before still apply. Those are listening to my body cues and only eating those items that are an absolute 10 out of 10. However, they will be applied in a slightly different way because I would have had a salad and a mocha, so I would have had a little bit of satiety. The other thing is, on completion of the meal, I'm going to exit the dining room and not help with the cleaning and washing. My plan is to talk to my mum or my sister or my friend or wherever it's going to be, and before the event, and just tell them what's going on, that I don't want the washing up or more me being the garbage disposal of the plates that need to be washed to jeopardise and botch up my efforts so far and, have and affect my future outcome. So by talking to them beforehand, I'm not appearing ungrateful or unfriendly. I just want to word them up and have their support so that when that time comes they can encourage me too. And this leads to the next point. I'm going to carry a toothbrush, toothpaste, floss and mouthwash, and as soon as I exit the dining room I'm going to do my teeth, and if I can't do it on my own I'm going to give them permission to police me and get me out of there. So from that, it means that from now on, I need to be committed to carrying these things with me at all times in my bag, give license to my family and friends, and just practice what I'm not used to. That's something that I don't do. I don't brush and floss after every meal, as my dentist would vouch for, but if I want to change things, I have to start living who I want to be and exercise that muscle, so that the more I exercise it, then it will just be. I won't even have to think about it. So I'm very committed to this, and I think this structure will work. So anyway, I hope my honesty in this experience really helps you to conquer what lies ahead, because with Christmas around the corner there's lots and lots of challenges coming up, and good luck to you. I'll talk to you again soon, no doubt. Thank you. Bye-bye.